On our series of reviews, which we have been recently doing for Petrol Plaza TV, we have now come to Petroleum Istanbul in Turkey. Where else could you find 5 beautifully dressed women at every stand, music all around us? To give you a little insight on the Turkish market, we have interviewed several key players of the industry. So let's go inside now. We're here at the Tora Petrol booth together with Fatih Akin and Ertuğrul Tüfekçi. Ertuğrul, can you please describe what Tora Petrol does today in Turkey?
Tora Petrol is helping the oil companies, major oil companies and independent retailers in Turkey, giving them service, maintenance activities and helping them for their any kind of problems. And also not only in Turkey, Tora Petrol is also working with the oil companies, neighborhood countries around Turkey. We also distribute products there, giving services and maintenance. And in the last 5 years we start to help them as a turnkey solutions like civil works, full team is preparing the necessary items in the stations.
And which countries are those that you work in?
We're working right now in Georgia, Azerbaijan, Northern Iraq, Turkmenistan, Kazakhstan. And finally, we're looking for some. Kyrgyzstan is also one of our target country now. We represent the same products and we do the full service also at that countries to help the oil companies or independent retailers.
And which companies do you represent?
Just quickly, Gilbarco Vidrut, Franklin Fueling, Fiberlight, BCL, Thomas Gardner, Vostek and others we're representing in Turkey and other countries also.
So Fatih, I understand that there has been a change in legislation recently in Turkey, which means that the contracts between the distributors and the retailers run out automatically after 5 years. So how does that affect the business in Turkey?
From my point of view, we have to really optimize the equipment and the service we are supplying each company, because company to company our service and equipment a little bit tailorized. We customize our service and equipment. Now, because the contracts are limited in 5 years, that means we have to choose the way, the strategy. One product on one service will fit all kind of customers, because today's shells doesn't mean it's going to be another 10 years shell. After 5 years it could be total, or the dealer may change the main distributor company who they represent. So therefore we have to be more clever to fit our service, and equipment has to fit for all companies need. It shouldn't be specific for certain companies, because you know each company has more a different specification, has certain specifications they follow. So we have to find a clever way to create more broad or more fitted, tailor-made, but it may fit for all companies this kind of product and service, because the investment is getting limited. They're investing less money every year, and so as a contractor and supplier we have to be very careful that the product and the service and the applications we are providing for those companies.
Thank you very much for the explanation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
With 60% of the LPG and fuel dispenser market in Turkey, there can be no more interesting company to talk to than Mepsan. I'm here with Batuhan Kiroglu. Batuhan, what's going on in the Turkish market at the moment?
That was a really interesting year here, actually. We experienced a lot because the government changed all the regulations in this year. They limited the major oil companies' agreements with dealers to limited maximum 5 years, which means right now every market, I mean fuel market and LPG market, the dealers is changing the contract every 5 years, which means it's a best chance for a supplier like us that the numbers of equipment we are selling, it's incredibly doubled right now in a normal year. This is the best thing in the as a supplier this year in Turkey.
Batuhan, arriving here yesterday, we saw many petrol stations, and there's some sort of showbiz around about that. They got lots of balloons and flags and stuff, and even your dispensers, I saw they got television on the thing. So, is that something about Turkey?
As you know that we are in the, working in the 54 major oil companies working in the Turkish market, then the competition is very hard between those companies. Then they're just trying to distinguish themselves from the competitors to attract the customers to, sell more. This is the main thing. But as a supplier of equipment, then we're just trying to make the unique equipment for our customer to distinguish themselves, to help the marketers, and the marketing guys can do more imagination of what they are going to do with their customer on the forecourt. Not only selling fuel, they are just trying to make different things for customer. Touchscreen televisions or multimedia systems, credit card applications or customer loyalty systems. Then we can do it all for them to try to help them their marketing activities.
So is the number of petrol stations decreasing or increasing in Turkey?
Is actually maybe one company is getting the less stations, but the small players getting the other stations from the big players. But just changing the hands between the major oil companies. But as a long-term perspective, is definitely the numbers of stations going to be more or less the same, which is 12,000 roughly. But in the long-term perspective, it's definitely we're not going to play with the 54 major oil companies in here. It's going to be less and less every year for sure. Because with these numbers of competition, someone going to lose for definitely. The big players will stay.
So I can't miss the opportunity to ask you what your main focus is right now for Mepsan.
Every country and every customer recognize Mepsan as a dispenser manufacturer. But the last 2-3 years, we not only focus on a dispenser market, we also developed a lot of different products and solutions for retail market, like automation solutions. We are making a lot of development on automation systems right now, and we nearly reached 25% market share, even though we just entered 3 years ago, which is the best thing for us because we are just giving the full services to customers, starting from dispenser, cash registers, automation systems, payment systems, everything we are offering for them, which is single supplier and then full equipment.
So service has always been one of the most important parts of Mepsan's philosophy. Has that actually helped you going into new countries like Iraq or Jordan, Syria?
We're already operating in 30 different countries, mostly Middle East, Northern Africa, CIS countries, and the Western, Europe, Eastern Europe. I'm sorry. But of course, what we do is we design, we manufacture, we install, and we maintain. This is the 4 main role of Mepsan. But the service is most important thing is because when you buy a car, without a service, you can't go 10 years, right? You need some services. That's our equipment is like a car, It's working 24 hours, but we have to serve 24 hours and 7 days, which is the most important points that we need to, develop the services in every country, transfer the know-how from the factory to service guys, because they are actually, giving the power to the equipment on the field. This is the, philosophy actually.
Television screens on petrol pumps have been going on quite a long time here in Turkey, I think for the last 3 years. It's been coming online in other parts of Europe now. Has this new facility been successful?
The 3 main actually aims they having is one of the corporate messages, the other one is the advertising, the other one is the product launching. These 3 points is actually they are using very actively right now to launching the new product and the corporate message. It's not coming the advertising yet, but I think it's the 3rd step is definitely to sell and make the extra revenue from that media box.
So Batuhan, we'll meet you again in 1 month's time for ERPAC, actually in Barcelona. So how does ERPAC help you to get in contact with new oil companies, new buyers?
Yeah, we are very well established in Northern Africa, Middle East, CIS countries, but we're not really well known in the European side. That's the ERPAC is always helping to get to know people for the new markets, to develop our relations, to make the business development opportunity for us. This is one of the best chance actually to meet with the opportunities and the new clients.
Thank you and see you soon. Petrol Ofisi is the leading oil company in Turkey with 2,500 sites, and I'm now here with Baris Tascioglu, who's actually a retail network engineer. Baris, from the engineering perspective, what is your challenge at the moment?
Thank you very much. As you said, we have a lot of sites. We have around 2,500 sites, petrol stations, and Petrol Ofisi is growing very rapidly. So that means we have a lot of things to do in the engineering side, in the HSSE side. So we focus on engineering projects and HSSE projects, mainly HSSE issues, because all our customers, dealers and other companies that we deal with need clean, safe and strong sites.
So what regulations are you working with for tanks and pipes?
As per Turkish standards, we have to make double skin underground tanks. So that's an obligation at the moment. And for the pipes, we use polyethylene pipes, underground piping, and the suction system or the dispenser system, we have to do the same.
Baris, I will see you again at ERPEC soon. Are you looking forward to that?
Yes, I'm very excited about that. I would like to see our rivals, suppliers and other companies from Europe, from the other parts of the world. That would be very enthusiastic for me, and I'm waiting for that.
Super, thank you very much for the interview.
You're welcome.